spell your first and last name for Madam Court Reporter?
I am Zachary Davis, Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y, last name D-A-V-I-S.
Where do you work?
I'm a police officer with the Athens-Clarke County Police Department.
How long have you worked for the Athens-Clarke County Police Department?
I have been employed with Athens-Clarke County since March 7th of 2022.
What are your duties with Athens-Clarke County Police Department?
I am a patrol officer. I'm assigned to the West Side Division, work night shift between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
As patrol officer, what do you do?
Typically it's responding to calls for service. When you call 911 and you want someone to come out, that's your patrol officers that show up. When we're not responding to calls for service, we're expected to be patrolling our areas, meeting the needs of the community.
When you patrol, do you wear a uniform such as you are wearing today?
Yes.
And you drive a patrol car?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you working for the Athens-Clarke County Police Department in February 22nd of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
What shift did you work that day?
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
When you came in at 6 p.m., were you given any information about an incident that may have occurred?
Yes.
What information did you get?
At the time it was very little information, but I was made aware that a female had been murdered in the IM fields, the intramural fields located on UGA's property, just across the millage from my zone.
And when you say just across from my zone, what do you mean by that?
So we divide the county along millage. Everything on the east side of millage, like the downtown area, is east side. I work the west side, so everything on the west side, closer to Oconee County and the mall, that's typically assigned to our side of town.
So millage is basically smack in between the east side and the west side?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the IM fields in that area of the University of Georgia?
I am.
And how are you familiar with that area?
Prior to being a police officer with Athens-Clarke County, I was employed by the University of Georgia Police Department and served on their patrol division for 5 years and some change.
So when you came to work that evening and were given this information, what, if anything, did you do?
My shift, we assigned more units down towards that millage area, just hoping to assist in any way that we could. I immediately started talking to some of the locals, asking if anybody had heard of anything. Nobody really knew anything and could point me in any sort of direction to start working. At that point, the only real information we've been provided was a photo, a very grainy photo that I was told was taken from Building S on the University of Georgia's, when I worked there, it was called Family Housing. I'm not sure what it's called now. It's down there off of Rogers Road and East Campus Road. I was told that photo was of someone suspicious in the area that morning. I knew the proximity of Building S to the IM fields and the location that I worked for the county down in South Millage, and I began checking in those areas for anything to go off of.
So tell us the proximities that you knew of then. The Building S that you're familiar with, how far away was that from millage?
From millage, if it's just a straight line, it's maybe 100, 150 yards, I guess.
And you were made aware of where the woman had been killed. How far away was that from Building S?
Maybe another 100 yards. I still don't know the exact location, but I knew it was within that proximity of walking distance.
And I'm going to approach and show you a few things all at once so that I don't have to keep coming up to you.
Not easy.
The first thing I'm going to show you is States 144. Do you recognize 144?
Yes.
What is that?
That is the grainy photo that was taken from Building S that I was provided.
And I would move to admit States 44. 144, I apologize.
Any objection to 144? No. 144 is admitted.
States 140, we're eventually going to get to that, but since I'm up here, I thought I'd go ahead and do it. You recognize States 140?
I do.
What is States 140?
That is a photo I took of a jacket that was located inside of a trash can on the property of either 291 or 295 South Millage Avenue, what used to be Raintree Apartments.
Okay. Is it also called Celiac at Azul at one point?
Yes.
And Argo Apartments?
Yes.
Yeah, about how many times has that apartment changed?
Since I've been living in Athens, 4 times. I believe now it is currently the Grove at 5 Points.
So no matter what the name is of that apartment complex, what are the addresses associated with?
I believe it's 291 and 295 or 285. I'd have to check my CAD system mapping.
Okay, Millage Avenue.
Yes.
Are both of those addresses, 285, 291, Millage Avenue, are they both located in Athens-Clarke County, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This photograph that you took which is states 140, does it fairly and accurately depict what you saw in the dumpster on the 22nd day of February 2024?
It does.
Statement moved to admit states 140,
No objection. 140 submitted.
and states 141 while I'm up here, what is that?
This is a flash drive that I have signed, and when I signed it, it contained my body cam footage resolving collection of that jacket.
And is it a fair and accurate recording of your body cam footage?
It is.
Statement moved to admit 141.
Any objection to 141?
No, sir.
141 submitted.
And may I publish?
Yes.
So starting first with 144, is that the image that you were talking about that you had received?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you got to work about 6 p.m. that day?
Yes, that's when my shift starts.
Okay. And you had that image, you said you started asking people, you know, millaging around. What else did you do in relation to trying to assist the officers with the crime that had just occurred?
So, given the university's location to Millage, I recalled an incident from 6 years ago where I pursued a subject from Building S, behind Building S, to, at the time, what was Argo Apartments at that 291, 295 address. And there's a perfect cut through that walks through those two. So I figured the ease of access for someone to easily cut over to Millage. I began checking dumpsters just because people tend to try and get rid of property in dumpsters that they don't want to be in possession of. I checked several dumpsters. We had also been called to, people were starting to call in about everything at this point, not really knowing what's going on, trying to be helpful. During that time, I found myself at the Raintree Apartments, wherever it was called. Started going through those dumpsters. There's one immediately behind the Italian restaurant that's there, that's still on the Raintree property. Looked in there, didn't see anything that really appeared to be evident that it was, pertinent to what was going on. I then made my way around. I noticed that the trash had been picked up recently. It's a rather large complex, and
Sorry, we had the lights off before you got
no,
there.
you're fine. And then, so the trash had been picked up either earlier that day or relatively recently, just due to the lack of trash that was in there. I made my way further into the complex, and I noticed there were 3 dumpsters, 2 of which were trash receptacles and one that was clearly marked for recycling. I checked the 2 trash ones. They had the sliding doors on the side. Looked in there, didn't notice anything. Again, nothing that really stuck out to me as pertinent. Finally went to the one that was strictly labeled for recycling. The sides of it were welded shut, but the top was open, so I climbed up onto it and looked down into it, and that's when I noticed the blue jacket.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you notice about the blue jacket? And is it the blue jacket that is depicted here in states 140?
It is.
All right, there's a pointer right next to you. Can you point out the jacket?
Oh, wow.
Oh, it should be, oh, nope, there's your pointer.
Perfect. So that is the jacket. The photo of the suspicious individual, they were wearing a darker colored jacket, appeared to have some shinier zippers or buttons on the front. Again, super grainy, but something to go on. The zipper, as well as it appeared as though there were leaves, and upon further examination, there was a little bit more.
Okay. Could you see anything else on the jacket at some point?
Not from this height. At this point, we didn't want to just be chasing down clothes in dumpsters, but given this proximity to the scene as well as the photo that was taken, I immediately notified my supervisor so that he could contact the University of Georgia Police Department since they were working the case. Detectives from UGA came out to look at it. They decided they would like to collect the evidence. I volunteered to climb into a dumpster, and upon picking up the jacket, I noticed that there were leaves on it. There were tears on the front as well, and what appeared to be some darker red or brown stains on the sleeves near the wrist.
Okay, and did you notice anything else on the jacket?
There was, I believe in my video I stated it's a button. The front has 2 pockets up here that fold down, and on the bottom has 2 pockets that fold out. That the buttons are used to close those pockets. Wrapped around one of the pocket buttons appeared to be dark hair.
So you jumped into the dumpster.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna show you or publish for you. Your Honor, can we toggle back over? States 141. Do you see the screen in front of you? Do you see that address, 2091 South
do.
Milledge Avenue?
Yes,
And that is located in Athens-Clarke County, Georgia.
it is.
Is that where you found this jacket?
It is.
Who's that we see in your body
That
cam
is
video?
Detective Norris from the University of Georgia Police Department. He's the one currently standing on the side of the dumpster. The gentleman on the right is, I'm not sure of his rank at this time, but it is, when I was there, Lieutenant Graham.
Okay. So are
again,
those ACC PD officers or UGA PD
University
officers?
of Georgia police
Okay,
officers.
thank you.
The first 30 seconds is silent on all of our videos. It gives a chance to buffer and go backwards from time of activation. Just
Okay.
to clarify
So we'll
that
hear
again.
volume in a second.
Yes,
All right.
about 10 seconds.
Come on. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
There's hair on the buttons, ripped up sleeves. Can you bundle it up with whatever is... Yeah, let me open this bag. You a brunette? Yeah. Women's long hair wrapped up in the buttons.
Let's stop it at 2:58 in the top, which of course is UTC. So if it's 2:58 UTC minus 5 hours, about what time of night was this?
9:58?
Pardon?
9:58?
9:58?
PM,
Okay.
yes.
PM.
You good friend of that.
So, I think you did that right. 2:23:24, 2:58 UTC is 9:58 PM on the 22nd day of February 2024.
Yes.
Right, thank you. I heard you just ask, was she a brunette? Why did you ask that question?
Because the hair wrapped up in the buttons appeared to be darker, didn't appear to be full black, and it definitely wasn't blonde. So
All right,